Trying. So let's move on to Hilchos Refuah. We have some papers in the back if anyone wants. I would like to talk about, there are 4 papers there, which is 4 topics, which is sort of, all within the world of Refuah. The 4 topics, number 1 is vitamins on Shabbos. Number 2 is, we'll call it Tums on Shabbos. Number 3 is an interesting heter called mixing the medication into food before Shabbos. And number 4 is Amir La'akum for a chayla. So number 4, Amir La'akum for a chayla, we're going to put on the side. And that's, a little bit of a separate topic that if we have time, we'll get to. So we're gonna start with, you see each of these papers was actually made to stand on its own. As you could see that each one starts with the exact same Gemara in Shabbos, which is the Mikar, the Gezerah of Refuah. They all start with the same, they go down. So let's start there. We spoke about this last week, but let's learn it together inside a few lines of the Gemara in Shabbos. And then we'll discuss, these are the big heterim to Refuah to Refuah in Shabbos. The Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Nun Gimel Amid Beis. The Gemara in Shabbos discusses a behema. Behema she'achazu dam. A behema that is literally grabbed hold by blood. What does that mean? The behema has a fever. Ein ma'amidin oisa b'mayim. Don't put the animal into water b'shvil shetistani to cool it off. Why? The Gemara continues. Gezerah mishab schikes haman. And we're afraid you're going to come to grind up herbs to heal the behema. B'midi de Refuah. This is Rashi explains. Gazir abanan. Why? Rashi explains. The isharis shum refuah. If we allowed any refuah, asi lemishrei schikes hamamanim. You're going to come to grind up herbs. Vu isura de'araisa. That's an isur de'araisa of teichin. That's the gezerah of refuah, which the Gemara that we're learning right now is applying it to a behema. The Gemara continues, and the Gemara says, Tanaihi, Ditanya, Behema Shachlu Garshina lo yaritzena b'chatz b'shil shetis rabeh, Rav Aishia matir, Darash Rava halacha ki Rav Aishia. So again, Rav Aishia is a mekel on a behema, and that is the halacha. That there's no Isur Refuah on a behema. But the Isur Refuah does exist on a non-behema. So from this Gemara, one of those things that sometimes you have to, you think it's a Gemara about an animal, what relevance is this going to be to our life? The answer is that the Gezerah was created. The question is just, what was the Gezerah created on? Says the Gemara, we have a Gezerah. The Gezerah is that if we allow you to heal someone, you're going to come to Over Isurim. Why on a behema no and a person yes? Explains the Rif on the page, which is, if you're looking at either of the first 2 pages, you'll see the Rif. Says the Rif, Ubaha ifscha hilchos Rav Aishia. Why? What's the reason? And here gives us a tremendous insight, number 1, into the Gezerah itself. And it's one of the, sometimes halacha lines up very nicely. Sometimes. Sometimes not. But sometimes it lines up from the Gemara to the Tam, the reason, through the Psak, through the Nafkaminas. Everything is like one big bow, a beautiful Sher Klali, everything Lishi Tasai, beautiful. And obviously there are always opinions. Someone's at the door. Obviously there are always opinions. Oh no, they just was delivery. Sorry. Obviously, it's always, there are always opinions that it's not. But, we just don't quote those, and then it all sounds like it's, wrapped with a beautiful bow. But says the Rif, what is the reason by a behema it is mutter, whereas by a person it is asr? Explains the Rif, te'ein adam bahul kol kach. A person is not that bahul. What does the word bahul mean? What does the word bahul mean? Bihilot. Bahul, anyone? Any takers? Bahul? No, that's a good word. I like that word. Overwhelmed. Bahul. Discombobulated? Miscombobulated? Combobulated? Whatever word you want to use. One is bahul, one is tarud, one is anxious, overwhelmed, swimming in his worries, consumed by his problems. Sounds like the start of a poem. That what? He's bahul. Says the Gemara, by a behema, you're not bowl kol kach. You still could be bowl, of course. And in halacha, I was just having a discussion over sukkahs with someone, and he couldn't believe it. He was telling me a story about fascinating story, not fascinating, but you'll see why. Fascinating that he was dog sitting over sukkahs, and the dog almost choked on a bone, and they weren't sure what to do. It almost got bad. Baruch Hashem, everything ended well. But he was discussing, and someone at the table said maybe there was some level of Hilchos Shabbos that could be done. And he was discussing, is this, can't be. So the answer is, now, we're not going to delve into this. This is a very complicated sugya. And the level of Hilchos Shabbos is not going to be the same that we're talking about. But there is a level, why? Sar B'Alechayim. We paskin, Sar B'Alechayim is certainly an Issa D'Rabbanan to cause an animal pain. And if an animal's in pain, we have to get him out of the pain as quickly as possible. It might even be an Issa D'Oraisa. And there are times that we allow one to be over Yisurim on Shabbos to prevent an animal pain. The Gemara discusses a lot of the gezeros of Refuah, learned out from Avatal Kli Meichanai, complicated Gemaras, that you have a pit and you have to put pillows in the pit. And it's talking about to get the animal out of the pit. It's talking about being over muksa for the animal. So it's true, animals are a complicated, difficult sugya. On one hand, it's true, an animal might be muksa, that might be true, but that doesn't mean, sometimes, like one thing, and like you take it to the extreme. It's not true. We care a lot. I'm just learning now in Arachaim. It's all Arachaim. We're learning in the Chelik Beis about Hilchos Netilas Yadayim. So I think we all know here, what happens if you wash your hands and you don't have any salt? What do? What do? You don't have salt. There's no salt on the table. You very now as one of your yeshiva guy inside of you come down. Where is the? You want to talk. I'm allowed to talk. Sifet Shulchan Aruch. Where's the salt? Parenthetically, I might have mentioned this here. Chaim Pechashayimberg holds if you don't have salt, you don't need salt. So don't ask. And he holds it's a hefsek and whatever, because the whole reason for salt is that the salt makes the bread better. One reason. The other reason is I'll be Kabbalah. Be Kabbalah, you want to dip in salt. But I think everyone here would have been like, ask, where's the salt? The same Sif says, you know what else you do? What happens? You're sitting down, you forgot to feed the animal. Go and feed the animal. You are not allowed to eat before the animal eats. It's a Sif, it's Shulchan Aruch. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves. So it's true, we do hold the animals in a high regard, and it's true. There are times, L'maisi Pashas, you can't call Hatzalah. We were dining with the animal with the bone. You definitely can't call Hatzalah. The question if you could call 911. That's a shikl question.
They won't come.
But it's all Yidden. But 911, the question is, that's an Issa D'Rabbanan to call. Even there, it's not so simple. It's complicated. But the point is, it's a shayla. So when something's a shayla, that means there's some validity to it. There's no shayla if, can I get in the car and drive to shul to make kiddush? There's no shayla. But there's a shayla. Back to where we were talking about. So when it comes to behema, it's true. You're not bahol kol kach. We care about the behema. There's an Isser Tzar B'Alechayim on the behema. But we don't care to the extent that you're going to go and be over Hilchos Shabbos to help the behema. Whereas, by a person, we are concerned. So what is the Gezerah D'Rabbanan, what we spoke about last week? But when we understand it very well, we're going to come up with a fascinating kula, and we're going to see how far it goes. What is the Isser D'Rabbanan? Again, test. Define Isser D'Rabbanan of Refuah. The answer is, what? That when one has a minor ailment, again, if it's a major ailment, if your whole body hurts like we spoke last week, then there's no Isser Refuah. Then you're allowed to take medicine. You're even allowed to do more things, right? We spoke about last week. You even could ask the guy. You can even maybe do D'Rabbanans with a Shinoi. Fine. But when is there an extra Isser, minor ailment, a mechosh, a minor ailment? Why? Next question. Because we're afraid if we allow you to heal yourself, what are you going to do? Come to be over an Isser de Oraisa. Clear? So now if I were to ask you, Shabbos afternoon, you feel perfectly fine. Nothing's bothering you. Can you take Advil? So, why are you taking Advil? Good question. Let the Shver deal with that. Listen, his psychological problems, his issues, we're not getting involved in. He's a bari. There's nothing wrong with him. Is he allowed to take medicine? Based on the Tam HaGezerah, and we're going to see this inside right now, it's going to come out a fascinating kula. There's no Isser. What's the Isser? You have to give me an Isser. Meaning, the Advil is not Usser when one has a minor ailment and we're afraid if we let you get close to that bottle of Advil, what are you going to do? Pull out the mortar and pestle and start grinding up herbs and being over in deraisa. We put up a gedder, we put up a fence, stay away from the Advil. But if you're perfectly fine, we don't need that fence. We're not afraid you're going to lose yourself. Then is going to arise an incredible heter. So now, with that understanding, let's go into the page that says Refuah b'Shabbat lemeniat choli. Yeah, we're going to get there. Oh, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Don't worry. You're saying, like, who cares? Let it be a mutter.
Yeah.
Or let it be us. It doesn't bother you. We'll get there. This could be a big helper when your brain's unright. Let's go to, it's called Refuah b'Shabbos Leminias Chayli. The paper is discussing the shayla that we wrote down in the paper is tums. So last week we said one heter of tums, which was what? What was that? Refuah b'Shabbat Leminiat Choli. Meichel Bri. Candy. Some people were upset. Some people wanted to call social services. It's in a different country, so it's okay. That tums should not be candy. So let's continue. So over here, we have another Gemara in Shabbos. A Gemara in Shabbos says as follows. Now, I went all the way to the end. Now we're going to roll it back, and we're going to get there. I mean, I just went to the end, and I played you out how far this heter and the gezerah go. But let's now go backwards and see it inside how it goes. Says the Gemara in Shabbos. Ein shoyrin es achiltis b'poishrin. You're not allowed to soak the achiltis, which is a certain herb, in poishrin, in lukewarm water, and drink the water for refuah. Continues the Gemara. Afilu man da'aser hani mili hecha dolei ishti klal. Aval hacha kima di ishti. I don't know if that word is supposed to be chamsha. I think it's a typo. Umali Shabbat. Oh no. Since you drink it on Thursday and Friday, ilo shazi b'Shabbos mistakin. Comes along the Rambam. So it says that you're not allowed to drink this item, but if you start on Thursday and Friday, then you're allowed to drink it on Shabbos. Okay. Says the Rambam. What's the reason? The Rambam says, because what's going to happen if you don't do this? You're going to bring yourself to get sick. You're not necessarily sick yet. Says the Rambam, if you drink this item on Thursday and Friday, then you're allowed to continue. Kidei shelo yichle, so you don't get sick in the future. She'ena ba'i sakana. And this comes along with Shlomo Zalman and a tshuva. Michal Shlomo says that we have a new heter. What's the heter? The heter is preventing yourself from getting sick. The isser is once you're sick to take medicine, but if you're not sick yet and you're preventing the sickness, says Shlomo Zalman, based on the Rambam and the Gemara in Shabbos we just spoke about, trufot b'Shabbat lemeniat choli, taking medicine to prevent sickness, says Shlomo Zalman, is the idea davar pasha shemot lekach trufos. So Shlomo Zalman is taking it the next step, and this really all comes from the same place. So all comes from the fact that the Isser is only once you have a minor issue, you're going to come to over a bigger issue. But now the Gemara and the Paiskim are saying to prevent a sickness, that's not going to be a problem. It's only if you have the sickness in you. And Shlomo Zalman says, why should you wait until you're sick? What's the point? So you're allowed to prevent the sickness. We've, I think, spoken about here. Similar, it's not the same thing, so you have to be careful. Is that if you have a small sickness and you're afraid it's going to come a large sickness, similarly says Shlomo Zalman that you could take medicine. For a similar svara, you have to think about it. It's not really the same svara, but it's a similar svara, and that's really what the next Shmir Shabbos Kalacha speaks out. Hakoyiv kev kal, if you have a small ailment, Also, you're not to take medicine. Ulam, however, if you're worried, if you don't take the medicine, you're afraid it's going to get worse. As we talked about last week, you can get a migraine, then it's allowed. So this is stage number one. Again, we didn't build yet to the stage of that you're healthy, perfect, and you're preventing 100%. Stage number one is we see from the Gemara, the Rambam, some Zalman, that you're allowed to prevent things from getting worse. Next is, what is the status when you didn't like that there on Tom's? No one here liked that at there. So you don't like it, don't take it. So now you have a problem. You're going to the Kiddush, you're going to eat the chalent, whether you should or you shouldn't, you're going to, you know yourself. And you're going to suffer Shabbos afternoon. You're going to have heartburn. The heartburn you're going to have, is that going to put you in bed? No. You're just going to be in pain. So what do? Is there anything to be done? So last week we said, take the Tums. You don't like that at there because you're telling me it's not normal and don't bring me a proof from some whatever. You know, the fact that someone eats something as a candy doesn't make it normal. It's not normal. So what's the hatter based on what we just said? What's the hatter? Take the Tums when? Before the Kiddush. Says the Yerushalmi. Again, a lot of the sources that we're saying really overlap each other, but it gives us the basis for what we're coming out with. Says the Yerushalmi, a makash and israpas, we have a wound that's healing. You're allowed to put on it a bandage. Now, bandages, just to give one word of explanation, bandages in the world of halacha are very complicated. It's not like a Band-Aid. Our Band-Aids don't heal. Their bandages, when they say ritia, it means something with medicinal powers. It doesn't just mean a cover like we put on our bandages. But over here, the Yerushalmi is saying that there is a type of ritia, a bandage, like our Band-Aids, which is what? What does a Band-Aid do? Why do you put a Band-Aid on a cut? For what reason? Yeah, just, if you're a little kid, because it makes it better. You fall, you get a bruise, you put a Band-Aid on it. Shalom Aleichem. There's nothing there. Why are we putting a Band-Aid? It makes it feel better. Okay, if you're an adult and you realize that's a little bit silly, great. But you put it on a cut. Why? To prevent the infection. It's called a shmirah. It's called a hagana. It's preventing the outside. That's Yerushalmi. You're allowed to put it she'ena elikim mishamra because it's preventing him. The Sman, the Sefer Mitzvah Hagadol, writes, he has a different gersa in the Yerushalmi. As you turn over the page over here, and he says, Shaila is whether you put it on before Shabbos, on Shabbos. He says you're allowed to put it on Shabbos. Comes on the Shulchan Aruch. That's your background. Makish and Israpa. Now, Makish and Israpa means a wound that's healed. So why are you putting a bandage on it? So you're putting a bandage on it. This is why it's talking about just shemira, guarding. It's talking about it's better. It's not healing anything. It's just preventing the outside guys from getting in. That's going to be okay. Says the Magen Avraham, and hopefully this should sound familiar right now. Says the Magen Avraham, why are you allowed to put on the bandage? Because it's only mishamra, it's guarding. Let's pause for a second. So why? So why does that make a mutter? Last week we said any level of healing is asr. We asked even why a chicken soup should be mutter. Why is a chicken soup mutter? So we answered because it's a soup, everyone eats it. But let's zoom out for a moment. There's a kasha. Why is chicken soup mutter? What's the kasha? Kasha, at some level it's making you feel better. So if I have this wound that's getting better and I cover it, at some level is it making it better? Of course it is. What's it doing? Mishamra. What is mishamra? Preventing intruders, is that called making it better? Getting rid of an well, that's a fundamental shayla. So you argue with the Magen Avraham, it's okay. Magen Avraham doesn't say that. Magen Avraham doesn't say, what are you doing? You're not doing anything. Magen Avraham says no. Magen Avraham says, why is it mutter? It's mutter because einay bahol kol kach. You're not so anxious. What was your word? Not anxious. Moshe, what did you say? Overwhelmed. You're not so overwhelmed. What's the word in mishamra? Says the Magen Avraham. l'chayr from the Magen Avraham, you see not like we're saying. See from the Magen Avraham that of course it's called doing something, and it gives us an appreciation in the world of refuah. Any level of bettering or allowing your body to be better is called some level of refuah. How does Advil work? How do a lot of these things work? We don't go down that road. There are some poskim that start saying, no, all it does is it deadens the nerves, and therefore you don't feel it, but the Maisa doesn't make you better. We don't say that. We don't say that. Maisa, you feel better. That's called refuah. So if it's feeling you better, it's not English. If it's making you feel better, then that's called refuah. Zak the Magen Avraham, yeah. It's mutter because you're not bahol. That you're not in the gezerah. The gezerah was only when what? When you have an issue. You don't have an issue. Because your issue is healing. Continues. So there are some that ask Yisir in the Magen Avraham. This is Magen Avraham in Sivkot Mem Gimel says as follows. He quotes a Torah, and he's talking about Meichel Briim, your chicken soup. Says the Magen Avraham, why is your chicken soup mutter? Torah Kosta v'sheisel ra'avoy l'tzamay mutter. That it's only mutter if the reason you're drinking or eating the item is for food. Mashma, that if you're drinking or eating the item not for food, rather why are you doing it? To be better. You hate tea. It's a good example for guys. You don't like tea. You mamish, you don't like tea. Why are you drinking the tea? Because your throat kills you. And you know that after drinking the tea, your throat's going to feel better. So why are you drinking tea? Yeah, if you do it enough, eventually you start liking it. But why are you drinking the tea? Are you drinking it litzamai? Are you drinking it l'ra'avai? V'adinish. Why are you drinking the tea? L'refuah. Says the Magen Avraham, mashma dim aser l'refuah aser afal pi shehu bari. So the Magen Avraham just took a left turn. And Magen Avraham said, 1 second. We're busy saying that if you're not bahol, then there's a heter across the board. If you're not overwhelmed, you're not anxious, you're not nervous, you're not any issue, then you're fine. He says, Magen Avraham, 1 second, why are you doing it? If you're doing something for refuah, that's a problem. So those who ask such a stira, and comes on the Chachani, and he says as follows. To answer this stira, there's different mahalchim now in this Magen Avraham. The Chachani says as follows, in this he says, that which the Magen Avraham says, that a bari cannot take refuah b'Shabbos, emil chazik mizko to make you stronger, loy dami lahacha. Da'asmu rak margish eze chulsha shetzarech. Because there you feel the sickness. He wants to be machalik if you feel sick. If you feel sick, then you're in the world of the Gezerah, and then you can understand. In the Band-Aid case, you don't feel sick. You don't feel sick. You're preventing. You're guarding. You don't feel sick. That's how the Chachani wants to be machalik in the cases. Rishonim Zalman comes along and he says, putting iodine on cuts. You got to put iodine in cuts. He says, yes. What's the reason? It prevents, infection, contamination. And Ramesha Feinstein, Hagayin Gadol. Thank you. That's exactly what I'm saying. I didn't finish my sentence. Thank you. Even though, that's exactly the point. Even though there you certainly have a problem. You got a massive cut. He says you can put iodine on it. Now, what? We asked our local doctor. Iodine, yeah. What about hydrogen peroxide? It burns. I know it hurts. Hydrogen peroxide is the same thing as iodine.
My wife actually just told me this week.
No.
She learned in school that there's no scientific anything to.
Oh, here we go. Listen, we all went through the trauma of kids of using hydrogen peroxide.
It doesn't clean out any better than water. In the hospital, they just use high pressure water. Interesting. What about iodine? So iodine they use to prevent. The chilik I was trying to make in my primitive scientific knowledge from 10 years ago, apparently we're not up to date, you've got to be careful, is that hydrogen peroxide cleans, there's alcohol in it. Alcohol kills germs. Iodine doesn't kill germs. Iodine just forms a coating that doesn't let germs in. So that's two different things. So Zalman is being makel that if you have a cut and you're margish, you're right, you feel the issue. It says Rishon Zalman, it's like the Band-Aid.
You're not actually healing anything. You're just preventing the outside intruders. That's allowed. Would that allow you to do hydrogen peroxide in old science that came along and killed the bad guys? No, it wouldn't be the same thing. Whether that's true or not, we're not going to. We're not going to fight about it right now. We're not going to fight about it right now. Which one?
Anti. Are both powerful antimicrobials, which are an antiseptic and disinfectant.
We're going to call the doctor. I think the boss is here today. We could ask the medic. We could find out what's going on. He's been treating a lot of. It's called Yud. Iodine is Yud, Chavra. Yud Vav Dalid. Yud. If you see a Yud somewhere, like what are they? Pass the Yud. It's a Yud. Yud. Yeah, Yud is a word. Yud is a Hebrew word. It means iodine. Let me read you Ramesha. And then we'll wrap up what we're trying to say over here, and we'll come up with all the different nafkaminas. Says Ramesha Feinstein Yud Gimel. I'll go upon him. Koidem shahalach. Kivet sha'az hareyu bari le'inyin samei refuah elu. Ein lemisar ledas b'sha. Okay, this is like, it's like so not nice to put in this line of Ramesha. This is like the conclusion of like a 25-page tshuva. This is like evil. Yeah. No, this is the maskana. But Seder, I don't even feel like it's appropriate to read the words. I'll just tell you what he's saying. He's saying what we're saying. That's the point, obviously. That's why he's here. But basically, like I said, if you connect all the dots, then it works well. If you want to argue, then you could argue also and learn the tshuva. But what we're trying to say is based on this Magen Avram, based on this sugya of Mishamra, based on the idea that if you're not Bahal, it's mutter, is that the whole Isser Refuah is only once you are a Chayla. Before you are a Chayla, then there's no Isser Refuah. What's the nafkamina going to be? Let's give some cases of nafkaminas. For example, why does one take Advil? One takes Advil for a myriad of reasons. One is for headaches, one is for body aches, etc. Why does one get body aches? Sometimes, I don't know, I'm going to go walk. I'm going to go to a Kiddush. And I'm going to walk, whatever, and I'm going to come home. And I know I'm not going to feel good. I want to take Advil beforehand. Am I allowed to do that? I want to take the Tums before the Kiddush. I'm allowed to do that. What's going to come out from over here is any time that when you're taking the item, you're not sick yet. You know that you might. But again, there's two levels. That's what I want to be clear. If you're going to get sick all the way to Chilish Ein Bay Sakana, then it's mutter anyways. That's Rosh Hashanah. That's the Radvaz we spoke about. Then it's going to be mutter. So this is a new heter we're saying called Mishamar, called preventative medicine. You're allowed to perform preventative medicine. Yes?
Why is it not a heter for allergy medicine you take every day?
Oh, very good. So this, the Rambam that we quoted was talking about dailies, and he was saying Shema Yechle, and that's the same svara of the Chazon Ish that we mentioned last week, that anything that you take as a course treatment is mutter. For the very...
Even without that, you're feeling fine, so why do you take it? Take anything.
So yeah, true. Correct. You're both right. You are both right. Yes, 100%. I agree with what you're saying, and that might be a good case. I was thinking about that case. I'm not an allergy guy.
Allergies are always...
Good. You wake up, I'll tell you the case. You wake up, you read the newspaper. People still read newspapers. You read the newspaper, you look at your phone, it's Shabbos, Kasha L'Maisa. It's on the screen, so now it's mutter because you're not touching it. Why is the whole world allowed to be broadcast on the screen? Or maybe the opposite. Maybe, I don't know if I should speak this out loud, but I don't know. If the Zmanim are allowed to be up there, and if in some shuls the Zmanim move, isn't that what, remember those big boxes that play sports games? What's the Yena microwave? What's the difference? If I'm allowed to play pictures on the box, and I'm allowed to play Zmanim on the box, so am I allowed to? I'm not. There's a shul in Flatbush. That was a loaded statement.
In the shul,
they have a TV for the sports games on Shabbos.
Shows like yard sites.
Yeah, of course. Everything moves. Yeah, so no, I'm just bringing out that I don't know why. So now someone wants to say, okay, so my computer screen's going to stay on, and the updates and the sports games and everything is going to be on there. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't say it's an issue. I'm just bringing it out. Back to, I know what's going on in your household, but
What are you trying to get at?
so I'm trying to say that if you see that the pollen count is high, and the pollen count is high. Let's we're on camera, Chaver. Let's be careful. They know where we're standing. The whole, the cops are not in front anymore. The pollen count is high, and it's going to be a bad day for allergies. So before you go outside, what do you want to do? Take medicine. That would be mutter, and that's you should know. This is a good eitzah for a lot of the cases you were talking about. If you're the allergies that you're going to be, forget about it, it's mutter. If you're the allergies that you're taking every single day, that's going to be a different heter. But let's say not. And there are people, they take it when they have a flare-up, and they don't know. And then let's say there's certain seasons, so they don't know. So Friday night, so Shabbos morning, the eitzah would be, take the medicine before you walk outside, before it happens, and that is a very good application we're talking about today, and that would certainly be preferred. They do discuss, just to bring out what Rabbi Goldberg is bringing out, when you take the Tums, what if you already had the chalent but you don't feel the heartburn? Is it still mutter?
Or let's say when I get heartburn, it's on and off. It's 5 minutes of...
Your cousin,
Someone I know.
yeah, asking for a friend.
It's on and off.
Yeah.
It comes,
Yeah.
and it goes, and then you feel fine, and then it comes right back.
So good. This is the raya to that shita. Very good.
So while I'm fine,
Very good. So many want to say that it can't be. Zelo yechola to do what you just said. It just says it does. Everything we're talking about here is like svara, and that's like keneged svara. So they want to say,
what can't be?
I'll explain. They want to say that it's only kolzman, it's not in your body. My body is healthy. Now you take medicine. If your body is not healthy, meaning you just ate the chalent, you're going to run and get the Tums before you feel it. It's in your body. For example, he was bringing out a case. If you're on a, what was the word he said? My science terms are not working today. You have an infection. What did you say? Antibiotic. Thank you. Gosh, so embarrassing. You're on an antibiotic, so you have the disease in you. So there, you can't say you're a bari, I'm healthy, I'm allowed to take medicine. You're not healthy, you're sick. So there will be a different heter, course treatment. There will be a heter that if you don't take it, you're going to get sick, like the Rambam said. And that's why it's for sure going to be mutter. And that goes back to your case. So if one already has the item in him to then go and play with it, it's not so pashit. I'll say in the world of Tums, because that's a very common case apparently, there's a makkah to be makel even after you eat the chalent. What's the reason there's a makkah to be makel? Because the makkah to be makel in all cases. Now, from here, we really should segue into vitamins. The question is, are you allowed to take vitamins in Shabbos? Now, before we get to vitamins, just to mention, when we say course treatment, that applies to kimat all course treatments. For example, if a woman is on birth control and she's taking it every day, she can take it on Shabbos. And there it's very relevant. The reason I mention this now is because we're about to talk about something like a vitamin. The question is like, why get involved in a shayla? Take it before Shabbos, take it after Shabbos. What's the big deal? It's a vitamin. It's not, well, we're going to see. You'll see what I believe in vitamins. You see what Ramesh believes in vitamins. We'll get there in a moment. Yeah, but that's only something that you could. Certain medications you have to take at a set time every single day, and therefore take them at a set time every day, and don't mess you up. Furthermore, just to open our mind up to different avenues of where the Paiskim talk about when someone's taking, let's say, birth control, it's not healing your body. Refuah, this is where it gets this is where things get difficult, because are you allowed to take a laxative? You're allowed to take a laxative. So on one hand, how can you take a laxative? You have a stomach issue. Taking a laxative to clean yourself out. Why are you allowed to do that? It sounds like that's the biggest refuah in the world. So says many paiskim, look into how a laxative works. Look into it. So we can let you look at it. How does it work? But how does it do that? So it seems, again, I'm sure there are different types. So like you get very nervous these things, but it seems that the basic ideology of how a laxative works is it's similar to going outside and taking a scoopful of dirt and eating it. Your body basically says, what in the world is going on here? And just throws everything out. That's the way laxatives work in a very primitive sense. So says the Paiskim, that's not called refuah. Well, what's refuah about that? You're just taking a snake, literally, kipshutai, and just sending it through your body. There's nothing wrong with that, and therefore they're willing to be makel on something like a laxative.
And a painkiller is different?
Oh, a painkiller is different. Very good. That's why I said this is where things get very, very gray. Because what does a painkiller do? Painkiller is not just putting in dirt in your body and letting your body expel. Painkiller is working within the nerves and the blood of your body and masking the pain that you don't feel it. But it's actually doing something inside your body. That's the chalik. What? Painkillers, Yeshladin. Many say, yeah, good. Again, part of the limud is certain things we sort of have to take what the place give us, and painkillers come out. And I think they say, I've never seen it, they say Chacham Avadi has a tshuva, that maybe he's willing to say something. It doesn't really heal you, it just makes you not in pain. I wonder if he would still say that nowadays, because in the world that we live in, we all know that pain doesn't allow you to heal. Even you're saying something even deeper. I'm saying something. You're saying something deeper. I'm just saying more. We'll call it balabatish. When you're in pain, you don't heal. When you're not in pain, you heal better. That's in all areas. So that's a reason why painkiller, in the very essence of it, is healing you. But yeah, it's true. So again, back to, let's say, birth control. Birth control is not doing anything for your body. It's just messing with. It's making the woman's body think she's pregnant and therefore not to be able to conceive anymore. That's what's going on inside. So it's not actually healing the body. Reverse. If a woman is taking fertility medication, all it's doing is it's allowing her body to be functioning like a regular woman. So these type of things have additional svaras why there are kulas. And furthermore, there's other reasons in these type of stories why there'd be a reason to be makel. Of course, in certain scenarios, Yuvada would have to ask. Let's just conclude with vitamins. Let's go with vitamins. Vitamins are a massive parsha. I'm very happy we don't have a lot of time. So it says vitamins over here. Let's look at the paper called Vitaminim B'Shabbat. Over here, we have the Torah in the Magen Avram. It's the sugya that we're talking about. We just read this Torah, and the Torah said that anything that you're eating for Refuah is asr. The Magen Avram quoted that Torah. The Mishnah Brura writes, like that Magen Avram. Again, if you remember, there were two Magen Avrams. Mishnah Brura is quoting this Magen Avram on the back half of the paper, and Mishnah Brura is writing that it's asr. Why is it asr? And here are the key words. Because says the Mishnah Brura, what are you doing? Lechazik mizgoy. We said the word mezeg avir. The word mezeg means your nature. You're lechazik mizgoy, says Mishnah Brura. You're making yourself stronger. That's why, says Mishnah Brura, certain things you cannot take on Shabbos because it's making your body better. Comes along the Shulchan Aruch already, and Shulchan Aruch says, Kol she'eino ma'achel mashke briim, if something is not food, you're not allowed to take it on Shabbos. Dafka mi sheyesh loy mechash b'alma, like we're talking about. But if you're ein loy shom mechash is mutter. So let's read a tshuva of Rav Moshe Feinstein, and basically we're going to call it a day. Says the Kohen Gadol Rav Moshe. This is in Orach Chaim Chel Gimel Siman Nun Daled. I'm going to read it. Yeah. He says in Ime, it's a fascinating tshuva on which he dons within the rayas of the Magen Avram and the Beis Yosef. Incredible, Moshe could do that. He wants to side with the Beis Yosef, who's being more makel. He says, you can't be makel because the Magen Avram is machmir. Says Rav Moshe, psak, it's aser. Something that's strengthening you is aser, but only if it's shaykh refuah. Shu bebari acholish b'tivai. One second. A bari who's cholish b'tivai. You're weak. You're a weak person by nature. Val yedei harefuahis, and with whatever you're doing, it makes your body into bari v'chazak. Then yesh le'asar. So what's aser? Weak person taking something, making him Superman. V'loy, and not Tony the Tiger. Kishem chazik ma'at yoiser. Says Rav Moshe, if it's just making you a dot better, not even those that just make you don't get sick. You have a different reason, because then it's just preventing the future. And again, let's just be. Can you open up Rav Moshe? I've been waiting for this day for a month. What time is it? We have time. Do we have it over there? We've all collectively been waiting for this day. You'll see. The Halavai Mashiach is coming. Archaim Chelik Gimel Simin Nun Daled. So Ramosha is discussing this tshuva is about vitamins. Says Ramosha, and therefore Roiv of we're doing Roiv of the vitamins, says Ramosha, are what? Einan Mavriin es Adam Abari. And therefore, they're going to be mutter. Now we have to be careful. When was this tshuva written? The chaver knows. Tshuva was written in Tav. I can't do this straight face. Tav Shin Chav Daled, which is when? 1964. Should we tell everyone? Should we publicize this? Should we publicize this? Should we publicize this? Wow. We should publicize it. Listen, if anyone listens to this year, this is the Ma'ila. If they'll listen to another year. You take any year, any Hebrew year, and you add 40, and you get the English year. That's the trick. So Tavshin Chof Daled is 24. You add 40, it was 1964. Any Hebrew year. Oh yeah, you calm down with the year. Seder. So says Ramosha, that most vitamin is going to be fine. Ella shamachzikin, I say me'at. It makes it a little better, like eating meat. He says, Kamosha mischazik, you get stronger. Me'achilas basar yoser me'achilas yirakis ukadayma. Fascinating. Mutter likach b'Shabbos, but, and Ramesh admits, again, 1964, 60 years later, the world certainly might have changed. Vitamins, let's just say it actually heals you, and it's not going to make you sick, etc., then it could be ulcer. And that's really the psak that we're going to say with vitamins. L'mais, there's a Tzitz Eliezer that says all these things are mutter. There's a Shmir Shabbos that says if you're taking it as a food supplement, whatever that means, it would be mutter. But the easiest way, the mahalach that we're going here today is Lafira Moshe said if it's just making you a dot better and you're healthy, then it's mutter. It's Meichel Bari. You're not doing anything. If it's taking a weak person, it could be someone has an iron deficiency and they're taking iron pills. That would be called you have a deficiency, and to make you then Lafira Moshe, one should be machmer. And in that scenario, you would take it both pre and post Shabbos. Shkoyach Chavra.